This morning, as we move into our message, our affirmation, a little fun, I am a superhero. And we actually all are in so many different ways. You know, when we think of the term superhero, we think of people in the cartoons, Superman and Wonder Woman and Aquaman. And these days, there's so many, the young kids talk about, I can't even keep track. There's so many superheroes out there in that comic book genre. But we indeed are our own superheroes in so many of the things we do and in all the things we can do. So when we think about our lives and all of the tasks, all the challenges, all the hills and the valleys that we encounter every day and every week, we have the power to overcome all of them, and it's within us. It's always been within us, and unfortunately for a lot of us, I know myself, I grew up in a very fundamental, faith-based organization. Well, my father was a complete atheist, but my mother, she took us to the local Baptist church or Methodist, whichever happened to be closest, and those can be a little fundamental and limiting. And if any of you have ever been to a service at a place like that, you'll hear a lot about what you can't do and all the limitations. And we know when we read the scriptures, when we truly read the scriptures, that Christ intended so much for us, that our Creator intended so much for us, and that indeed we are meant to overcome all of these valleys. We're meant to leap from mountaintop to mountaintop and not necessarily always be in the valley. The reality is, that's life. Sometimes there are going to be the valleys, but we were created to live in the hilltops. We were created to overcome all challenges. We may not leap buildings in a single bound, but you know what? We can find a way to make our income not only meet but exceed our needs. We can find a way to have a health challenge completely resolved. And if it isn't resolved, we can find a way to live and live happily and in a functional, good, vibrant way despite that. If we have upsets with our families, we can be the bigger people and we can overlook some of their downfalls, and we can look at people, as we were reading today in our daily word, not judgmentally, but with love. In all things, love. And when you put all of these things together that we do, my goodness, we are superheroes. So even if it takes you imagining that you have some red tights and a cape on underneath what you're wearing to see that indeed all of the things that you may look out in the world and see as limitations are actually just limitations in your mind. They don't really exist in the real world. They're only there because of what we've heard from the time we were little about what we can't do, what we can't do. You can't, you're too small to play football, or you're too little to join the basketball team, or, I don't think you're smart enough for that AP class, or any number of things that we've heard throughout our lifetime. Know that that was just somebody else imposing their limitations on you. Those limitations aren't real. So just like a superhero busting out of the chains that they've been tied in before their superpowers came into effect, bust free of all these limitations, because we all have them. And it's not easy work, I can tell you that. It is very, very challenging work, because you're talking about overcoming a lifetime of learned habits. Just like any sort of habit to break, it is a challenge, and it takes work. It takes work to tell yourself every day, I am a superhero. You know what? There is no limitation that applies to me, because my God, my Creator, the Wayshower Christ, has told me that I can do all things through Him, and that if I read in the scriptures about the things that He did in His time on earth, He did wonderful, miraculous things, and He told us, you're going to do all this and even more, because you know what? You're a superhero, and I'm a superhero. We all are, and it's within us, and we just need to bust free of all these limitations that not only have been imposed by our upbringing, but because of our upbringing, we impose on ourselves. And that's the biggest thing, is breaking through that barrier of thinking, I can't do this because I can't do that because I can't do that because we know that all of that is just clutter up here in the mind. And when we can clear that, when we can break free of that and know that indeed all of our dreams and desires and goals are what our Creator has intended for us, that indeed we can begin to pursue them without these limitations applied to us. Because we know And it's easy, and it's not just something that I say every week, because I do say it every week, but because this is in the scriptures, this is what we read, that we are meant to have lives of great happiness and great health, great prosperity, and great loving, fulfilling relationships. And indeed, it's all there for us. And we just have to let go of these limitations that we learned from the time we were small until the time that we became aware of the fact that when you read the scriptures, this is exactly what is meant for us. This is the life that our Creator has meant for us. So as you go through the week, hopefully everybody gets a time to be a little contemplative. Well, tomorrow, Monday, is the holiday, so you'll get a day off. But Tuesday, when you go and prepare for the week ahead, approach every task, challenge, upset, hill, or valley as though you've got this, because you have. Work to forget the limitations of a lifetime has taught you to live with, and know that through divine spirit, you can do all things. Through divine spirit, you can do all things, and you are meant to do all things. And the good news is that we are indeed able to do all things that are put to us. We are superheroes. We have lived with a lifetime of hearing what our capacities are, when in fact our Creator and our Wayshower, Jesus the Christ, have told us always that we can indeed do all things through the divine Spirit, which strengthens us. So remember that as you go out during this week and every day, all days, all of the times that you go out into the world, everything that you perceive as a limitation or a lack or something that's holding you back or you can't do it, just envision yourself as a superhero and know that indeed your Creator intended you to do great things, and indeed to have a life of great happiness, great health, and great prosperity, and perfect, loving, divine relationships. And it's all possible. It's all there. And we just have to let go of the limitations that we've built up in our mind. And as I mentioned, that takes work. Just like meditation, real true meditation, it takes work to stop activity in our minds. It really does. And it's a process. And so as you are going through the week, let that be your goal. Let that be the thing that you strive for. A lot of us will do things, we'll go to the gym, or we'll take classes, we'll do this or this. Work on yourself from the inside. That's such an important part to start. I'm not saying don't do all those external things, but certainly start on the inside, because that is the best place to let all that external stuff become much more valuable. And start by learning to meditate, to clear your mind completely so that you can become centered with the divine and know that indeed you are a superhero. All right, I'd like to invite you to join me in prayer. Eternal and divine Spirit, we thank you so much for being with us and within us every day in every way. We thank you for giving us the knowledge that indeed we are able to do anything, that there are no lack, there is no limitations other than what we impose on ourselves. We thank you for giving us the tools and the ability to overcome these limitations and indeed achieve all great things in life that you have meant for us. You, our Creator, our divine Wayshower. We thank you in the name of faith, in the name of hope, and in the name of love. Amen.